here is the Writer's Almanac for Thursday. It's the 3rd of March, 2022. It was on this day, 1802, Beethoven published his Moonlight Sonata, Sonata number 14 in C-sharp minor, opus 27, number 2, whose great popularity confused him. He said, "Surely I've written better things." 1873, Congress enacted the Comstock Law, making it illegal to send any obscene, lewd, or lascivious books through the U.S. mails. It was under the Comstock Law that James Joyce's Ulysses was barred from the mails, until court challenges finally determined that the book was not obscene. And it's the birthday of the poet James Merrill, born New York City, 1926, the son of the founder of Merrill Lynch. At the age of 8, he was already writing a poem a day, and thanks to a large trust fund, he was able to travel widely and not have to worry about earning a living. James Merrill, who used a Ouija board to write his long poem Divine Comedies, which won the Pulitzer Prize in the mid-70s. Today is the birthday of Ira Glass, born in Baltimore, 1959. Started working in radio when he was 19. He just finished his freshman year of college. Looking for a summer job, someone gave him the phone number of National Public Radio in Washington and said, "Give them a call. They're kind of a new organization." He'd never listened to public radio, but he talked his way into an internship there. He started out as a tape cutter and a desk assistant, graduated from Brown University, and kept on working public radio. He wrote newscasts. He was a producer of All Things Considered, and he forced himself to do a lot of stories. He didn't like the way he sounded on tape, and so he invented a whole series of stories where he interviewed people and then cut himself out of the tape completely. As he went on, he found that some of the most interesting stuff came out when the interviewer was just chatting with the interviewee casually. He said, "If I had to give just one piece of advice to beginning reporters, it'd be to get themselves into the quotes, asking tough questions, cajoling the interviewee, joking with the interviewee, thinking out loud." In 1995, he launched This American Life, convinced a lot of otherwise reluctant stations to carry the show, and it's been a huge success ever since. He's done stories about babies switched at birth, about frenemies and poultry and mind games, guns, infidelity, the devil, highway rest stops, and credit default swaps. Ira Glass said it's hard to make something that's interesting. Basically, anything that anyone makes, it's like a law of nature, a law of aerodynamics, that anything that's written or anything that's created wants to be mediocre. The natural state of all writing is mediocrity. So what it takes to make anything more than mediocre is such an act of will. Here's a poem for today by Emily Dickinson, Going to Heaven. Going to heaven, I don't know when, pray do not ask me how. Indeed, I'm too astonished to think of answering you. Going to heaven, how dim it sounds, and yet it will be done, as sure as flocks go home at night onto the shepherd's arm. Perhaps you're going too, who knows? If you should get there first, save just a little place for me, close to the two I lost. The smallest robe will fit me, and just a bit of crown. For you know, we do not mind our dress when we are going home. I'm glad I don't believe it, for it would stop my breath, and I'd like to look a little more at such a curious earth. I am glad they did believe it, whom I have never found since the mighty autumn afternoon I left them in the ground. Emily Dickinson's poem, Going to Heaven. That's the Writer's Almanac for Thursday, March the 3rd. Be well, do good work, and keep in touch.